freedom comes with self-knowledge.
Is being able to do what I want on my own terms, being able to have dreams that are mine, and also having the freedom to be able to follow them.
Given the freedom, I would never stop playing.
Azadi, 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 Azadi.
As long as you know what is true to you, then you're free. And it doesn't matter whether somebody else gives you permission or not, or whether somebody else acknowledges or not. But it's about knowing yourself and owning that completely.
Does a man really need freedom after all? I've been pondering about that till date. And I'm still thinking, does he? I don't know. I don't know.
Azadi, Azadi.
How would you like to introduce yourself in your most natural way?
Musical way. I need to get my guitar to do that. Things that are difficult to say can be expressed through music or art. The kind of place that music comes from and the kind of place that it reaches the audience is the same, and that space is very pure. Swaratma is my first creative atom bomb that took a long time to be created, and everything that I am is because of Swaratma, and it's very much part of me. It is in 2002 is when we officially started Swaratma. I was in college, and one of my junior, we used to jam together. Another friend of mine, Abhinant Kumar, he used to come to my college. We met through common friends, and we used to jam in the corridor. And he was like, "Hey, your originals are far better than the covers that we are doing. Why don't we write more songs?" And that's how we started. And he was the one who named the band Swaratma, because he believed that every note that we play has a soul, the soul of the note or the note of the soul. That's what Swaratma means. Every time I'm picking up the guitar, even till today, I keep asking, so why do I do this? So it's not like something I figured many years back. So my brother used to play guitar and he used to sing, and I learned a little bit from him, and then I failed miserably. I didn't get it. He used to scold me. I would cry and learn, but it's not happening. One of these days he had left his guitar and gone to Bangalore. So the guitar was just there, and I said, okay, let me try. I picked it up, and something grew then, and then within like 3 months I learned like some 6 chords and then I started playing. I got the hook of it. I fell in love with the whole expression. Guitar is another tool for me to express my songs, my emotions. We can't be always very cautious of how to not hurt someone, because when we talk about politics, we have to be true on some level, but truth is truth, however you say it. So it will hurt someone who is not in that truth. Like for example, we have the song called Yeshu Allah or Krishna, which talks about religious hypocrisy. Should we say that, was the first question. We call our music as a sugar coated bitter pill, and then we say you give it with a bit of sweetness, bit of laughter, bit of humor, then it can be accepted, and then let the music do its work. We had someone writing to us saying, he's like a 16-year-old college student. He was singing Yeshu Allah Krishna in his college corridor and walking. So apparently one of the HODs or the principal heard that, and he confiscated his ID card, saying, how can you sing something like this? So for us, it was a proud moment that it has hit someone it had to. Me and my wife, we did one song called Dada Dada, which was right after killing of Gauri Lankesh. And one of our friends, who is a poet, Mamta Sagar, she wrote this poem and sent it to us because Mamta was very dear to her. Dhada dhada, dhada dhada, dhada dhada, dhada dhada, dhada dhada, esi gundu, dhada dhada, esi gundu. Somebody was voicing their opinion, and just that you are so powerful, you could just go and kill that person. Within few weeks, actually, couple of weeks, I got a call saying, who are you? Why are you doing this kind of music? Are you leftist, rightist? What kind of artist are you? And stuff. I said, I'm neither left nor right. I'm just an artist. And art is only a reflection of the society. And me as an artist, it is also my both responsibility and joy that I am just here as a mirror to whatever is happening in the society. Some people do get offended and threatened, and which is good. I think we artists are fools that we think less of ourselves and think more of our art, and then hold that as our shield to express ourselves.
Would you like to take us somewhere near nature for yourself and for the people?
Yes, definitely. Let's go. Let's see if we can get some people to sing along with us. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshaka Ragi Tandira. 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 Yogya Ragi, Bhogya Ragi, Bhagya Mantaragi. Purandaradasa has used Ragi. Ragi, as you know, is a millet. But he's also used it as a not just as a noun and also as a verb, because in Kannada, agi means to become. So when you use it with another word like Valleyava Ragi means become a good person. So he uses that word very well, he minces the word very well and used it very creatively. How would Purandaradasa or any of these saint poets in those times would go and make their songs reach out to people? They didn't have social media, they didn't have Instagram, they didn't have television. The only way is to go and sing in front of them, and that's how it would spread from one person to another. I wanted to experience that. I was singing in one of the very thick Kannadigas populated spot in Hanumant Nagar in Bangalore, and one of the people from public, they came and said, see, we are all Kannadigas, we will sing. You should go and sing this at places where there are lesser Kannadigas. So I said, okay, let me try. Where is a nice place to catch them all in one? So I said, IT buses, like the buses where a lot of IT employees travel. So I went into the bus and started giving these pamphlets and singing. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshake Ragi Tandira, Ragi Tandira, Bhikshake Ragi Tandira, Yogya Ragi, Bhogya Ragi, Bhagyavanta Ragi, Yogya Ragi, Bhogya Ragi, Bhagyavanta Ragi Neevu. To my own surprise, everybody enjoyed singing, and they were singing Kannadigas, non-Kannadigas, and the response was so positive that I was actually taken by surprise. And that's when I felt that if we want to project our language or anything that we believe in, it has to be given and expressed through love. The more you force things on people, it's only going to get rejected. But with love, the process might be slow, might take a lot of time, but it will always be positive. I am in love with this language, I am in love with this culture, and that is what I portray through my songs. Language, music, culture, these were made only to express one's feelings and not to constrain oneself.
Yes, okay. Yes. हंसते हंसते कर हाँ Freedom. Wow, okay. I guess freedom to me is being able to do what I want on my own terms, being able to have dreams that are mine, and also having the freedom to be able to follow them.
You need to step outside, get some fresh air. I am taking it. I am taking it.
To be free. It's feel that. Also, that's what it costs to watch my videos, so follow me.
On some days, I don't want to be a girl boss, okay? I want to be a girl resting. I want to be a girl that's horizontal and just...
What you see online is who I am. Maybe not the screaming, yelling part of it, that I'm obviously playing a character, but I think I'm very myself and I'm authentically just who I am in real life, online as well. So the image you have of me in your head is probably quite accurate. I actually left YouTube when I was at my peak, actually. I was doing really well on YouTube, but it just didn't make me happy anymore. I just found myself chasing numbers. At a point, I was also very young. I was like 19, 20, and like those numbers were quite addictive and the highs were really high at the point, and I realized I was fundamentally changing as a person, and in my core, I believe that nothing should change who you are as a person if you truly love yourself that way. I was very set on living the corporate life. I wanted a 9-to-5. I wanted to wear power suits, strut in my heels in those corporate offices, have vacation times, have like one nice vacation home. These were my larger goals. But I think during the pandemic, there was no hope left, right? At least for me, I was like, this is the apocalypse. The only thing that's remaining are zombies or like some like, you know, Terminator-esque predators that are going to attack the world. I think at that point in my life, my manager, who's managed me since I was 17, he's also my best friend. He calls me and he was like, listen, like, now that you have some more free time on your hands, why don't you try like dip your little picky toe into content creation again? And I was so adamant on not doing it. I was like, absolutely not. This is not for me. And then we have this weird deal where he goes, just do 10 videos, okay? And if they work, they work. If they don't, I'll never bother you again. And to prove him wrong, to prove that I wasn't made for social media, I made those 10 videos out of spite.
Listen, take a candid picture of me laughing, okay? Like, it should look naturally beautiful. Ready? Ready? I laugh.
Okay, ready.
Got that?
I think so.
Looks natural, huh?
Ah, very natural.
Yeah.
And I upload that 10th video, I go to bed, wake up in the morning, it's blown up, right? A couple of million views, and my phone's dead from all the notifications, and I charge my phone, and I see all those like ding 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 ding, like it's going nuts. I think that was one of the first. That was October 18th. I hit 100,000 on that day, and then December 18th, exactly 2 months later, we hit 1 million on Instagram. And Instagram themselves hadn't seen any creator grow that fast. As human beings, the bare minimum that we could do is be able to express freely. I don't even think that's a question. In fact, it should be a fact, like a blanket statement. Of course, there should be limitations with expressions that might harm others or yourself. When they see me, they see that they could also do what I do, which I absolutely love. We always see people in the entertainment industry as aspirational and something as people that are untouchable, unreachable, you know, they're placed on a pedestal. But when you see people make it and crush it on the internet, and you see them grow from the beginning, from being an absolute girl next door to achieving the dreams that they want to, I think people love that. I love that. I've watched a lot of people doing that, and that's motivated me. And if I get to be that for someone, nothing like it.
Hey, don't flex. Who said you are pretty?
This boy.
Sure? Sure. Sure no. Sure na. Right? Shy. Shy.
But I grew up on the internet, no? So I think I experienced the trolling, the haters, all the negative comments, all of that very young. And I experienced it more then than now. Because I have a larger audience that gives me more love. But when you're a growing creator, the ratio of people who love you and hate you can be quite competitive. But the bigger your platform is, the bigger your audience is, the hate kind of dies down. Opinions and facts are two different things. And somebody's opinion of me is not a fact, and they're allowed to have their opinions too. You're allowed to not like me. I also don't like everybody in the world, right? People are allowed to have opinions. I just know who I am, and my self-worth isn't tied to a piece of content that I make. I don't really get into political, religious, or anything controversial, because I feel like all of us could use a break, man. All of us could use just shits and giggles for some time, you know. It doesn't have to necessarily be intense all the time. The world's already such a dark place, and it's already difficult to get through a day. So if I could add a little whatever to your day, I would love that.
Can we come back to this question at the end? I feel like the hoops have really journeyed with me in my ups and my downs. It's like a best friend that I have a love-hate relationship with. When I first started, it was all about how can I make this look as fancy as possible. But now it's more of how can I just be me with it. And I do express with it a lot. I feel like also my identity is shaped around it. I love dancing, I like slacklining. I've recently picked up skateboarding and longboarding. I'm very average at it, but I think I just really like it. And I like to sing, I like to play the guitar, I like to draw. I'm not a very good artist, but I enjoy spending time just doodling.
Shall I write it in a letter? Shall I try to get it down?
I've performed on stage with 5 to 6 hoops. I know I can easily do 4 hoops when it's not spinning on my body, but at the same time, I don't feel drawn to it. Like I still love hooping with a single hoop or maybe 2 hoops. Yeah, do you? Oh.
Yeah. So we're gonna stop Krishna with your Instagram. I would want you to go to post as old as 2020. The Sari Flow collection.
Oh wow, it's been a while. Where is it? Still scrolling. Wait 1 second. It's really long ago.
I think I got it.
I found it.
So there's that one comment that popped up. So do you want to read that comment?
Beautiful flow. Love this. Hrithik Roshan. But I mean, at least in Bollywood, he's known to be the dancer and also the most good-looking guy. But I couldn't believe it. I still don't believe it. And he's also commented on some of my other videos. You know what? I've still not read all the comments on that video. I know that a lot of other famous actors, musicians, etc. have commented on it, reshared it, reposted it. It feels very dreamlike in that sense. Over the years that I'd been teaching, I used to keep getting questions from a lot of my students, especially the older women, that we don't know what to wear for hooping. And I just wear whatever you want to. We don't feel very comfortable wearing this whole sports bras and tights, leggings or those workout clothes. Every time I would say that you don't actually have to wear that, you can wear what's comfortable to you, they wouldn't believe me because I used to post videos of myself wearing more fitted clothes or very minimal clothes, and a sari is too many layers, right? So I think it was just this chance that I wanted to give and show that it is possible for you to wear whatever. People know me as the girl who just loves to make blooper videos And so even when I make a perfectly shot video where I'm actually doing my movement very beautifully, they're like, hey, can we see the behind the scene of this? Or can we see the blooper of this? Because that's more exciting for them. And I'm kind of realizing that people really crave wanting to see things that are real and wanting to see like process videos and just seeing the journey of it. And a blooper video somehow just shows that. All these other parks nearby, it's just hard to go with a hula hoop to just practice because for some reason people think it's like, I don't know if it's like a weapon or what, but they get very conscious and intimidated by the idea of somebody, just kind of using props and stuff. Even when I do go to the parks, I do get stared at a lot. I feel conscious because there'll be passers-by, they'll ask what I'm doing. Some will ask in a very friendly way and actually very interested. So that's nice because then I feel like I was able to open a doorway for somebody new, like a kid who wants to play, and I think that's adorable. But then there are just some people, some aunties who just like, look at you like, what, you don't have like, important things to do in life? Don't you have a job to go to? So then they kind of belittle what you're doing, and what something that gives you joy is suddenly seen as something just lesser. I feel like with the access to the internet, there is a lot of room to express yourself and freedom to do so. But at the same time, there's a lot of scope for it to get hate comments and stuff, right? Like, and to be judged around it. So that's why it feels harder to express. Because there's so much room that you really wonder, are we really able to express, or are we just kind of stuck in this system that is making us think that we're expressing, but we're not actually authentically expressing.
Who's Ishna?
I don't know.
Why? Be expressive about yourself.
I genuinely don't know right now. To be genuinely honest, at this point, I feel like I don't know who I am. It's that weird existential phase, and it's an exciting phase. I'm not saying it in a very gloomy way of I don't know who I am. But it's more like, it feels like a new challenge and an exciting new adventure where I want to break out of the stereotype of me being Ishna Kuti, the hula hooper in the sari, and just, yeah, I think I've been identified as a hooper for so long, whereas from the very beginning, my life has been more than just hula hooping. And while it's a huge part of my life, I do want to now start exploring the other avenues that I have been working on.
My name is Danish Seth. I am from Bengaluru. I just turned 35. I enjoy watching magic. I've always been fascinated by magicians and magic shows.
You told today's officially the start.
Hey guys, back even I don't want to come back to work, but I'm stressing. I'll give you this guy's number. He's got the.
I act, I make people laugh, and I think I'm very lucky that all these things I did as a child, I get paid to do the same things now.
Ladies and gentlemen, now bring your left hand in the air.
Oh my God, he knows me inside out.
I grew up with very little, and we didn't have much as a family. So a lot of the time for entertainment, I would be out playing with my friends on the street. What happened as a result of that was I became very observant as a child. And the more I interacted with people, the more I realized that, wow, I was really good at kind of picking their accent, picking their mannerisms. I think the greatest thing that happened was I started doing radio, which is primarily voice. So I could do many accents there. And I realized that with all the strengths that I have, I could really pack in a punch and entertain the person who's watching these videos. So I think that's where I get all my characters from.
विराट, अगर मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में आउटसाइड द ऑस्टम सवाल फेंकूं तो आप खेलेंगे या छोड़ेंगे? Well, and Anushka, I want to ask you, how are you?
I'm very good.
Nobody cares.
There are some very hardcore Jaya fans. There are some hardcore Ramurthy ji fans. There are some hardcore Beorsi Kudka fans. I recently did something with this Cholrango character. People have now started really liking that person. In one of the videos that I recently did about love marriages in India, there's a line that goes Doctor Kariri, which basically means call the doctor. That line became popular. So I think people just pick whatever they like.
Namaste Ramurthy ji. Namaskar. We are also looking for a nice, simple family. So Mr. Sharma, children have already. I told them living together for 6 months, you won't want to get married only. Doctor Karire. Is Bhabhi ji okay?
Uncle, she's fine. She just fainted.
I basically wanted to use comedy to bring about some change, and that's when the idea of a political satire kind of came to me, and we created this character called Humble Politician Nagraj. There's nothing humble about him.
Black Commanders! It's not fair, Nagraj. What? Fair, dark and Nagraj. Don't be a racist. It's time to resort to politics.
In the film that we did, he goes from wanting to be a corporator to wanting to be an MLA. And then we made a series with it where he goes from being an MLA to being the Chief Minister of a state, which was again great because it showed the internal dynamic of what I thought, or what we as writers, Saad and I thought, is the version of what happens inside resort politics.
Anti-culture videos ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. What are these videos, dear friends?
When you go down and listen to people, it's only then where you can actually have real conversations. And I've realized that the moment you actually translate real to real, and I literally mean real Instagram reels, I've realized people enjoy it a lot more, they share it a lot more.
Officially the start of summer, and for Bescam, power cuts. Oh sir, in 1990 I was walking around wearing a monkey cap and a shawl in the month of March.
The reason why short form content works is because we love being on our mobile phones and because we can keep switching very quickly. And I think the pressure then becomes on the content creator versus the consumer. And I just enjoy the idea of entertaining people because in that 59-second video which I do, my only thought which I put in with every line is, can I make you forget the other things of your day for those 59 seconds? If I can manage to do that, then I've done my job well.
Has offered me 100 rupees as a gift to marry his daughter. I have said no. Aha, well done, sir. Anyways, with 100 rupees, what you will get?
My theory is content has to be produced really cheap. When I say cheap, the maximum production budget which I have spent on a video of mine on Instagram is $10. That's it. I'm serious. Because it should be produced cheap. Why are you spending money on an Instagram video for 59 seconds? I don't get it, right? So I've spent literally that much. I learned how to edit my own videos. It absolutely is a form of expression because I get to marry art and almost no commerce, right? I'm not bound by budgets. I can use anything in my house.
Ray, can't stop. So sorry, sir. What sorry? Sahib saying do jumping jacks. No. Sir, I'm going to see my mother, sir. After 10 o'clock, not allowed. Do the clock.
I'm not really self-made. I'm a result of the internet. And the internet is a lot of people. And my content is just the starting point to it.
2 हफ्ते से देख रहा हूँ तुमको. प्रॉब्लम क्या है तुम्हारी?
चाचा नफरत बिकती है चाचा.
खेल है? खैर नहीं समझोगे.
चाचा आपकी उम्र हो गई है, रिटायर हो जाओ, कमेंट्री बॉक्स में मुझे बिठा दो, नफरत मैं फैलाऊंगा.
Today when I put a video out and if somebody says, oh, I did not enjoy the video, I don't take it personally. A video on demand service, as simple as that. If the person doesn't like it, he'll move to the next video. This person turns around and says, I don't like it. And absolutely acceptable. Now, so I don't look at myself just as a comedian who'll say anything and everything. but there is a sense of responsibility as well.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मचेगी खलबली, भिड़ रहे हैं क्रिकेट के बाहुबली। लैंड डाउन अंडर, जो जीता वही सिकंदर। एक ही प्रोग्राम, विश्व T20 का महासंग्राम।
Some things are a no-no. Like I believe faith is very personal. Like for example, there is a reason I won't touch a subject like religion. Just read the room. The rules are there. You know what you can talk about. You know what you can't talk about. And there are enough of us who are doing it within those guardrails. And it's okay to have guardrails. I think it's okay to be guardrails, because I remember being in a taxi once in Singapore, an old man who was driving the car, and he turned around and said, does a man really need freedom after all? Does he need absolute freedom after all? I've been pondering about that till date. Like, does a man need absolute freedom after all? And I'm still thinking, does he? I don't know. I don't know.
My name is Shailo Shiv Suleiman. I'm a visual artist, and I'm also the founder of the Fearless Collective, a growing movement of hundreds of artists, all women, turning up in public spaces and moving from fear to love and imagination. Being a street artist means that I'm often, painting in very strange places, not inside an ivory tower or in a studio like most people think artists isolate themselves from the world. I put myself into the streets, into marketplaces, into some of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the world, and I still find myself in my element there. I started painting when I was around 13 or 14 years old. And through all of the fears, my own trauma, my own problems, I used art as a way to be able to transform and alchemize my own pain into beauty. In 2012, I was at the height of my career, well, back then at least. I had just given a TED talk, it had gotten 1 million views, I was working with art and technology, and then the Nirbhaya protests broke out. And I went out onto the streets for the first time I've ever been at a protest site. And there was this rage and power, but simultaneously it also felt like we needed to use storytelling to transform the violence of the women, to heal ourselves and heal societies as well. And so Fearless began in 2012 as a counterforce to a lot of the mainstream narratives that really were rooted in fear. I think when we turn up on the streets with the soft power that we call, kind of with so much self-assurance and so much self-love that there's no room for anyone else's hate, I've seen miracles happen. I think in the last few generations, as India, we've forgotten the power of art, right? We've all been trained into becoming doctors and engineers, and that's supposed to be the mark of success. But actually, if you look at our independence movement in India was founded on the poetry of Rabindranath Tagore, of Sarojini Naidu. So many of Gandhi's sort of resistance movements and acts were also acts of poetry or performance art. And so I do believe that actually being an artist is incredibly radical and it's incredibly transformative. And I think that as India, we need to again reclaim that. Art is central to the way that culture is formed, that society is formed, that narratives shift and narratives change. When we look at even the history of independence in India, right, the resistance movements that caused independence in India, it was a deep process of self-seeking and self-actualization that led to us being free. So the thing about freedom is that nobody's going to hand it to you. I think the ability that we have to turn up in spaces despite the fear, despite our anxiety, despite the lack of freedom, that is what frees us. People often ask me, you know, are you fearless? And I think the truth is that I've become fearless or more fearless over the years. But in 2012, when I began Fearless, I was deeply afraid. I think what makes me fearless is not the fact that I don't have fear in my body, but the fact that I choose to turn up anyway and face that fear and move through that fear rather than hide. Every time that I paint something, I'm speaking in my mother tongue. I'm speaking in the language that's most comfortable to me. A lot of my self-portraits have always been about expressing desire, expressing freedom, expressing love. Now when we think about the Ganga and the Saraswati, we look at them completely choked and quite contaminated. But the stories behind them, the origin stories of these rivers, are full of this kind of deep sensuality. They say that Yama and Yami were the first man and woman, kind of like Adam and Eve. And they walked the earth eternal before any humankind existed. And at some point, Yami felt desire creep over her and she turned to Yama and said, can we be together? And he refused her. And in refusing her, he turned into the god of death, Yamraj, and Yami turned into the Yamuna river and made her way across the Indian subcontinent, fertilizing the fields and bringing life to earth. Installation that I made at Burning Man is quite literally close to my heart because it's a kind of oasis of huge lotus flowers made out of metal, and the lotus flowers have pulse sensors attached to the base of it. So when you put your hand on the flower, it would glow with your heart. A lot of my work in my own personal practice deals with using technology to be able to bring alive experiences of magic, of awe and wonder, and also make us realize how connected we are. So I was working with a neuroscientist at the time, and we realized that when people spend enough time with each other, their heart rates start to sync up. And so with this installation, Pulse and Bloom, which was at Burning Man, when two people put their hands on the same flower, you can see both heartbeats, and over time you can see how your hearts do actually sync up. So this particular poster I made in solidarity to the Kuki-Zo women in Manipur. It says, rise from fire and speak to silence. And it will serve as a reminder to us that we have to continue to speak up against the violence against women, particularly women who are indigenous, are Dalit, whose stories actually are hidden from us. Every time that we paint out in the streets, like I said, when we paint in public space, and that's the point of why we paint in public space, usually there are at least 50 people who surround me as I'm painting. And we've had everything from mob violence break out in the background, mafias come to chase us, we've been stopped by the police, we've been stopped by neighborhood aunties, you know, because often the communities that we paint with are made invisible by society, like the people who are refugees, people who are sex workers, people who are on the margins of society in some way, people who are Dalits, people who are Muslim. And when we come into public spaces with those communities, of course the power structures are threatened. So there's always a backlash, and we face that backlash with love. जी मैंने ये जो पेंटिंग है ना, मैंने ये बनाया है। पेंटिंग वाले का नंबर देना, उसका कितना पाना हमारे पास। ये जो मैं ये है ना मैंने पेंटिंग किया है. This is the backlash. You know, speaking of freedom, there's a very beautiful quote that goes, "None of us are free until all of us are free," and I think that especially on Independence Day is something that we should remember.